like to do it, and well, let me look at the first. I wasn't really aware of the show, nor the movies. I said later to Bruce, I said, "Oh yeah, I remember those movies. Yeah, I had no recollection of what the hell they were." But I said, let me look at the first couple of shows, which I started looking at, and then I went through the whole 10 at one sitting, and I said, this is batshit crazy. You got to be a part of it. It is so funny, and I think that's what draws most of the fans to this show. I wouldn't have done it if it was just a strictly horror show and without the comedy. And I think the fans tune in to see some tune in for the gore, some tune in for the comedy. So you got a best of both worlds there. So that's the reason I tuned in, is for the comedy.
I think fans are fascinated with this casting too, and it's just really, really great, your chemistry. So how did you work on that relationship, you and Bruce?
With Bruce?
You're so good, yeah.
Well, having watched the first season, I knew where to go with that, because he's got to be a chip off the old block. So I just came in as the old block. I came in with the same kind of attitude he had, more or less, and the same competition with the ladies that he has, and it's worked from there. So
this is a very different television show from most of your previous work.
Yeah, most of my shows are family fare.
Yeah.
That you could sit down with grandma and grandpa and father and dad, and mother and kids, and enjoy the show. So, but this one it can only be on Stars, that's for sure, because. And you've seen episode 201, the first one this season. Did you see the second one of this season? You saw it? See show 2, the second show of this season.
Yeah, you showed it at the panel.
I just saw the first one of this season.
Well, nobody else has seen this. I'll tell you what. There's a scene in there that will never be duplicated. Has never been shot before. In my 53 years in the business, I've never seen anything like it. And I said to Bruce, you got some guts. I don't think that I could even contemplate trying to shoot that scene. I mean, you'll know it's a holy shit moment. You'll be watching it, and you don't want to watch it, but you'll keep watching it, and you don't want to watch it. I mean, and you can't describe it really. You have to see it to believe it. So anyway, look for that one.
How refreshing is it to you as an actor to be able to, explore a lot of that, and take, because obviously stars can take a lot of those risks that other networks can't.
It's true. Back in my day, you couldn't even, in Big Valley, if you got shot, you may have a bullet hole wound, but maybe a trickle of blood down the fingers, and that's it. Sometimes they'd come in, that's too much blood. Wipe some of that off. You couldn't have it, maybe more than 2 or 3 drops of blood. And Lord knows, throughout the last, up until now, I've never seen so many F-bombs being dropped in a show. And that little Dana, I mean, what a foul mouth. I mean, especially in these first 2 or 3 shows, she's dropping them all the time. I mean, but she's funny. It's funny. So, it surprised me that I'd be doing a show like this. If you'd asked me, a couple of years ago, I don't know. It doesn't sound good to me. But I just think it's so funny and Stars. It's right. Stars. It's the only network that would do it. In fact, they said the trailer was so bad they didn't want to show it. They didn't show it at San Diego Comic-Con. They didn't show the trailer. So
have you found there's anything that you're surprised to learn about yourself now as you delve into this?
That I'm still here. I'm still working. 2 years ago, I was, I was 75. 75. Last year I was 76. This year I can't turn my numbers around anymore, so I'm stuck with 77. So and still working. I think that pleases me to be able to still be working at this age. And I remember my friend Ernie Borgnine, who passed away at 93 after having just finished a film. That's the way to go out, you know. So just to continue working and having fun.
In the first episode you did, there's a reference to Bruce's bionic hand.
Yes, I didn't write it. I didn't, but I was surprised that they would throw it in. But not. I was surprised and not surprised because they're taking advantage of that situation, which was very funny. I mean, since he has that bionic arm, a hand, more or less. But I was surprised they put it in. It was written. I didn't put it in, but when I read it, I got a chuckle out of it. I got a chuckle out of it. It looked like a piece of shit made in China.
What can you tell us about the physical challenges of this? Are we going to see your character really kicking some butt throughout the
No,
season?
you won't see me doing much physical stuff anymore. That's another thing. I read a script. All right, not much, no physical stuff. Location is pretty good. New Zealand, kind of comedy, and okay, I'm in. You know, no, there's not much. He does throw me around a little bit in episode 3. Well, actually, no, it's maybe 10. Episode 10 too. I don't know. I don't know where I go. I can't tell you.
Do you ever tire of these kind of conventions? Mm-hmm. Do you ever tire of these kind of conventions?
No, because I haven't done too many of them. I enjoy seeing new people and chatting and realizing now how strong some of those shows really were as far as the fan base of them. You know, it's very gratifying to see that somebody enjoyed your work and still being able to do it. So I'm happy the stars came to me with that, and it's been a lot of fun.
Are you a fan of the horror genre?
My first horror movie was 1963, black and white, directed by William Castle, who was the poor man's Alfred Hitchcock, and it was called Straight Jacket. You can look it up. I had no credit, but in my little town in Kentucky in the mountains, they came down all the hollows to see this movie because on the marquee it said starring Lee Majors in Straight Jacket, also with Joan Crawford. And then she chops my head off with an axe before the credits come on. I'm out of the movie, and now the credits come on. And all those poor people, I'm glad I wasn't there. I paid the money to go see it. I probably paid about 30 cents back then, but we went to see it. I hope they got their money back. But my head did show up later in a bed. And the only horror of that was, just think about it, being married to Joan Crawford. Whew. That was a horrible thought.
Yes. Do you have a lot of your, every actor, I think a lot of people, especially in genre work, they want to get an action figure of themselves or a toy of themselves. I mean, you've had so many great pieces and some incredibly valuable pieces of merchandise made after.
Boy, do I see them too.
Do you have any of those?
No, my wife has picked some things up off eBay because we don't have them. I mean, they put so much stuff out I didn't even know they put out. I mean, I knew they did the action figure. I have people come though and they say, "Would you sign this doll for me?" I said, "Look, it's not a doll. It's an action figure." and lunch boxes from 2 series at least. It's amazing. Except the action figure started out about that big. Each year I noticed on Comic-Con they've been getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I mean, Universal's milking it, man. And I don't get any money from that crap either. I mean, and you see all this stuff they bring to you, the sign, and you know it's going right on eBay.
Well, not all of it. Some fans keep this.
Some of it, yeah. Well, if they personalize it, yes. If they don't, no personalization. Just sign it. I say, sure. That comic book's going right on eBay.
Would you like to do a couple of seasons of this, or do you think this is just it's got a...
I'm just a guest riding along a little bit here. I can't tell you how long I even last this season. And I'd be happy to go back because I didn't get to do a lot in New Zealand this time. But I was there once before. 28 years ago, I did a Toyota commercial there for the country. And that's the only time I was ever there. It still got more sheep than people.
Did you have fun?
I had a very nice. My wife had a great time. I was working, and she was touring around with Bruce Campbell's wife because they're right on the water, and they have these little ferries that'll take you to different islands, and it was a lot of fun for them.
Is it strange to you that they're shooting Michigan for New Zealand for Michigan?
Yeah,
Or
it
they were able
is.
to recreate it?
And you know, it's interesting. All of those, like Bruce and the Raimis, are all from Michigan. A whole bunch of them are Michigan. And I was born in Michigan, believe it or not. I wasn't raised there, but I was born there. I lost my folks early, and so I was adopted down into Kentucky, into the mountains. I went from there to coal mining and moonshining area. So, but it's interesting that and Lucy's married to Rob, the producer, who's also from Michigan, and they all knew each other back then. So it's kind of like all a team here. Maybe they picked me because I was born in Michigan. I don't know.
How has the production experience changed?
You know what?
A show like this versus
You know, it's all still the same. I was surprised at the production values they get down there in New Zealand with the crew, and they got great crews down there, and the lighting and everything on the show is just top notch. It's really very good. I was very impressed with that.
The rest of the cast gets turned into zombies and heavy makeup. Would you let me do an episode where you get covered in zombie makeup?
I got covered in blood, so I don't. It doesn't really matter now. I mean, I got my first blood splatter when he was sawing somebody. I got splattered. They didn't warn me. It just came. It went up my nose and in my eyes and everything else. Now I know to close my eyes if I can before it happens.
Thank you
Lee.
so much.
Thank you, guys.
It was great
Yeah,
talking
nice talking
to you.
You bet.